Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome back to the CCA podcast. I am here today with myself and Olixil. Hello, Olixil. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Oma. It's good to be on a podcast, especially with a pretty good friend. We've both of us are well acquainted.
Yeah, we used to play together on Sparkling Sea, which was very fun. And now you're heading that team. So glad to, be with here on the podcast, especially since you're a staff member now. So fun stuff. And now we get to talk about a lot of fun collegiate teams today and collegiate matches. So nothing to. It's hard to go wrong with any of that, right?
Yeah, nothing you can't go wrong.
Yeah. So to get the episode started off, little fun fact about myself for today: I am wearing the DeBalls shirt, and if any of you happen to read the stream title or our announcements, we are interviewing DePaul Ink Stew today. That's going to come around the middle portion of the episode. You can see that little stream graphic right now on the screen. So look forward to that. We will be covering that right after the week one match recap. And there was a lot of interesting stuff that happened in week one, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Look, so you have any fun facts or fun happenings recently?
Um, I guess the fun happening is that I'm on spring break right now,
Oh,
and
sick.
I'm going to be fighting against Splatlanders this Saturday.
Yeah, Splatlanders has been tearing it up a little bit. I believe they beat Walk this past week, if I'm not mistaken. Um, yeah, so I hope that goes well for you, and I hope you have a fun set that comes out of that.
Yeah, I think it'd be fine. Science, cool.
Yeah, hard to go wrong with any of that. So, with that all said, we're gonna go ahead and move along and kick it off to the CCA announcements this week. To start off, we wanted to shout out Hokin's stat update. This is a message that came directly from the stats god himself, praise be. We wanted to thank him for submitting stats for week one, and to please remember that the winner of each match should have players submit only the games that count for the best of seven, even if you do a play all seven. If you need help or have questions, please reach out in league stats. And we all asked yesterday, so it's here. The CCA Stats School spreadsheet made a return. You can find the link pinned in hashtag League Stats, so the League Stats channel. And good luck to everyone in your week two matches. That was a message from Hokin himself. So be sure to spam a praise be to Hokin in the chat. Luxil, can you take us on with the season five fantasy information?
Yeah, we're going from one king to another. We're going to be talking about Snow, the king of fantasy, in charge of our fantasy bracket. Uh, so the fantasy applications have all been finished now, and we have now predicted, fantasy winners for each of the different divisions. Leading off with Division One, we have the Red Embers, followed by PSU Blue, which it's kind of interesting. I mean, PSU Blue not being the first seed of what people think. It's actually Red Embers. People have a lot of high hopes for Red Embers. Along with then third place is UCSD Gold. Probably, pulling out an upset over some of the more other established Div 1 teams.
Yeah, a lot of fun stuff in Division One. Hopefully, we get to see Red Embers play soon. I think uh, they've been having quite a few reschedules, as I believe you mentioned. So ideally, we get to see them play a match and not have a Marsh Season Three situation upon us. Moving along to Division Two. In Division Two, the newcomers Splat Scad Black Team are drawing the most attention. Who do people think are best suited to take them down? UCSD, Esports Navy, with their fantastic glow up over the offseason, as well as the WPI Grizzco Workers Union, are hot off their Division 3 title last season. So UCSD, Esports Davy, currently tearing up the league, and SCAD's black team is also performing very well, and Grizzco Workers Union is also another team to watch out for. Moving along to Division 3, Division 3 seems to be a pretty well-matched division currently. There are no clear favorites overall. However, Goomies and Golden Barracudas seem to be currently edging out the competition. Personally, biases aside, and I'm about to give my bias, I think the Goomies are going to edge out everyone and ultimately take the Div 3 crown. So hopefully we have continue to have some fun matches there. Olixil, want to take on Division 4 for us real quick?
Yeah, definitely. As you know, WPI Grizzco Workers Union has moved up to Division 2. The union did get some more labor benefits, but at that cost of the union busters wanting to take them down, they got punished even harder, all the way down to Div 4. But people have believe that union busters will take over the Div 4. So I think the union busters could still have a chance of taking down the union in the next season.
Nice.
And then in Division 5, everyone doesn't quite know exactly where Division 5 is. It's a little bit of chaos right now. There's a bunch of people voting out different places. The top 3 teams that have the majority vote would be Titans Eternals Blue, IVC Devil Rays, and Sporty Bobblehat Gang, all expected for that spot. But all of them have to watch out for Undertow Dartfish that could go and snipe their podium spots.
Yeah, Division 5 is cooking up quite a lot of trouble right now, so thanks for covering that, Olixil. Moving along to Division 6 from Fantasy, 2 teams appear to be leading the way in Division 6, one being Sun God Squad, followed by Cutstown Spoon. These 2 teams combined are for the most predictions in that division right now. So definitely keep an eye out on both of them. Sun God Squad is a team to watch out for, as well as Spoon. And finally, since we have the divisions out of the way, we wanted to talk about the overall best team names. The best team name was quite the tight competition overall. The Tenta Missile Crisis is barely leading in terms of the most favored team names. However, Girly Pops and WPI Grizzco Workers Union are also up there and just tailing behind Tenta Missile Crisis. Some honorable mentions we also wanted to shout out from the Fantasy Best Team Names is Bonefish Bay, Creamed Corn, and VCU Big Fat Sea Cows. For those of you who do not know, VCU Big Fat Sea Cows is a rebrand from VCU's Ink Black that has played in the past couple seasons of the CCA. So, repping all the funny and silly goofiness. But yeah, Elixir, want to take us through the fantasy predictions real quick?
Yeah, the fantasy prediction for the number of total specials that will be used in the season is average to be 50,223. Although that number is a bit skewed. There's a few people who guessed, as you would have guessed, 69,420. What you expect. Also, one person who guessed 50. So the range is by a margin of about 69,000. That makes the average be around 50,000. And as expected, people expect the shooters will be the winning class because shooters have the most weapons in this entire game. So not to be too surprised.
Yeah, most of the meta weapons too. You see a lot of teams running double hero shot, for instance. Maybe not as much in the CCA, but in a lot of like higher level team scrims as well. So yeah, it's kind of an inevitability, unfortunately. And yeah, again, thank you all for your submissions for CCA's Fantasy, and expect more public rankings to be posted soon. We're anticipating that we'll probably be doing this bi-weekly. Don't quote me on that, but definitely keep an eye out for it. And Olixil, uh, I think you have a little bit of an announcement to make over the Collegiate Scrim circuit. Do you want to take that away?
Yeah. So this Monday at 8 p.m. we will be holding the next Collegiate Scrim Circuit, Collegiate Scrim Circuit 6, hosted by Krona and myself. This is a bi-weekly tournament tailored towards everyone in the collegiate Splatoon. It is for all divisions, all skill levels. But it's the main target is of course low level because we always want to bring up the floor up instead of dropping the ceiling down. Um, Collegiate Scrim Circuit is a it's a playoff 5 format with 3 sets, following our own unique cluster system, which is similar to a division, but it's slightly different in terms of the Collegiate Scrim Circuit. The registration is open and it will be closed. It will be closed this Sunday at 8 p.m. EST.
Yeah. So, yeah, definitely check out the Collegiate Scrim circuit. It is something that I think a lot of collegiate teams could get a lot of benefit out of, especially kind of our mid-level teams in particular. So if you're looking to get more practice against teams that are around your kind of CCA level, roughly, that is the place to go. We're going to go ahead and start off on our week 1 recap. We have done it, everyone. Announcements have been completed. And we're going to be attempting to change things up a little bit this week. In particular, we want to incorporate a little fun thing that hopefully just appeared on the screen right now for you all. It is a timer. We are going to be holding ourselves to a 1-minute time limit, assuming this timer cooperates with us, for each division we cover for the week 1 recap. So look forward to that shortly. In the meantime, we wanted to note that overall for week 1, there were 22 reschedules, 43 matches played total. And of those 43 matches played, only 4 groups had everyone play their opponent for the week. Everyone in Division 5, Group 3 had to also reschedule. That was another shout out we wanted to make. So, to be honest, that amount of reschedules is kind of to be expected. Olixil, any comments on it yourself as someone currently in a spring break?
So I'm part of that 22 reschedules. I had to get my
Oh no.
match reschedule against RIT Tiger Sharks. Um, so I'm part of the very huge number of the spring break effect. As you know,
Hoopers.
22 or 43, that is about 50% of all matches. Just reschedules.
Yeah. As we move along with the season, though, I think we can sort of safely expect to see more of these matches play. So, yeah.
Now, should we get started on the individual division recap? Let's go and try to get this what I would dub the Blitz.
Yeah. All right, so moving along, let's get that timer started. If it will play, give me 1 second as I properly get it set up here. Okay, boom, it started. All right, 1 minute's going. All right, Division 6 for our Division Blitz. CSLUB Blue won in a 4-1 set against the UNCG Axolotls of Athens. Very sort of a wash of a set there, but hopefully we're going to see a little bit more contention moving forward. CCU's Coastal Booyah Basins won in a 4-0 set against the MCD Deep Sea Terrors. And finally, the Auburn Navy team won against the Ferris State Splatoon team in a 4-0 set. Elixil, I successfully named all the teams in our time limit. Woohoo! We're gonna go ahead and pause the timer. Do you want to call out any specific matches there?
Not particularly. I mean, a lot of these matches, these were the predicted seeds to win. So, and with most of these being pretty much a 4-0, or with Long Beach Blue 4-1, it's practically a sweep. With it's UNCG putting a little bit more fight, but otherwise, there's not really much of a competition between the opponents and the other team. Um,
Great.
as yeah, as And as for the rest of Division 6, one key match that got played last week was the Newmont College of Computer Science Llamas, NCCS Llamas, going 4-2 against Washington State University Glooga Gogas. Um, Now, this is kind of interesting since this was the first CCA match for both of these teams, and Glooga Gogas were a former Div 4 team last season. However, Newmont put in definitely a lot of work. They played in a lot of collegiate scrim circuits, and it was definitely a fight of just new kid on the block with lots of experience versus just someone who was supposedly a pretty strong opponent from last season. And Newmont was able to prove that they're on top.
Awesome. Yeah, that's Division 6 for you all. Moving along to Division 5, Elixil, you're going to go ahead and take care of our call-out Division Blitz. I'm going to go ahead and let you know when I click this button for our lovely timer. All right, you got
Wonderful.
3, 2, 1, go.
All right, for Division 5, in our Division Blitz, we have Clark Coy going 4-0 against Chaotic Inc. We have A-State Black going 4-1 against DPU C-Frames. We have Missouri State and Science and Technology Splatoon Gold going 4-1 against CCG Coastal Calamari. And unfortunately, we would shout maybe a little bit more, but there was an entire group that did reschedule all Group 3, so we can't shout out all of them. All these teams also did go 4-1s or 4-0s, so again, not much of a fight. It was just heavy sweeps the last week, which was expected for Week 1. This is the end of the Division 5 Division Blitz, and we will now be covering the key match of what we believe happened last week for Division 5.
Yeah, you said all that with 10 seconds to spare, so congratulations. So far, we're on a good roll. Hopefully that'll continue. But moving along to that key match, the CSUDH Ivory team won in a 4-3 set against Undertow Dartfish. Ivory's first Div 5 match was able to make a lot of waves. They had a pretty notable seeding upset where they were a seed 6 and Undertow Dartfish was a seed 1. And as you can see, as that was a 4-3 set, they got to a game 7. So they played all the possible games they could play. This was a former Season 4 Division 6 team versus a Season 4 Division 5 team. So Undertow Dartfish was expected to potentially have a much stronger sweep overall. So seeing a match this close was a surprise. And then we're hoping to see a promising season, though, so far for both teams. So not to, undercut the Undertow Dartfish's just overall fight they had in this match. We can definitely expect to see them perform very well in the future again. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and take us through Division 4, and I'm going to restart our lovely timer and kick it off. So, for our Division Blitz, the WPI Grizzco Union Busters in Division 4 won in a 4-0 set against the PSU Fish. This was a friendly rivalry the two have had for quite some time, so seeing a set like this was a great thing to see. Nautical also won in a 4-3 set against OU Academy B. Something to point out that was pretty interesting about this set in particular was that they were a seed 6 versus a seed 1. So a major upset there, just like the Undertow Dartfish and Ivory game. And then finally, the MSU Casual Conches won in a 4-3 set against ISU's Redbeak Splatoon team. And These are the second teams from established collegiate programs. All right. I was able to say all that with just 17 seconds left on the clock. Let's go. Olixil, can you shout out our key match for Division 4 real quick?
Yeah. So our key match for Division 4 was Farmingdale State Esports going 4-2 against Moravian CyberSquids. Farmingdale State was Division 3 last season, but they did go drop down to Division 4 this season. But, going 4-2 against Moravian CyberSquids just proves that Farmingdale State, they may be in Div 4, but but they can still beat Division 4 as they were former Division 3. But don't count Moravian CyberSquids out of account because they did take off 2 games off of Farmingdale Esports. So, it really shows how much Moravian CyberSquids have been improving since Season 2 CCA.
All right. If you don't mind, we'll go ahead and cover Division 3 in that case then as we wrap up Division 4. So, Olixil, in 3 seconds, I'll be turning on this button. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, and we have Division 3 Division Blitz. We have DPU Ink Stew going 4-2 against UH Bad to the Barnacle. We will cover a little bit more about this match in our interview, but Ink Stew going 4-2 showed how strong they are, but Bad to the Barnacle definitely did not pull any punches against Ink Stew. We have UCB Egg Spaghetti going 4-3 against KSU Wild Sharks. Very excited to see how these two teams match up because these two had very close match for the first week 1, showing a lot of promise. And we have CULSLB Lot Black going 4-0 against Vespa Enter Salmon from Virginia Tech. Kind of surprising that with a 4-0 sweep, but it is still week 1, so there's going to be some sweeps going on. That's all of Division 3 Division Blitz. We will be covering our key match. If you would like to take that, Oma.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and take it. So UTK, Utopian Tidal Krakens, was able to win in a 4-3 set against UGA Black. UTA Krakens was a new debut from the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, taking on UGA Black, who moved up with promising entrance exam 3 results. A very close fight between these two teams overall. As you can see, it was a game 7, with the Krakens winning in a 4-3 set. And it was also really not bad for either team. They're both still in the early season, so we can expect to see them continue to improve. The Krakens are a relatively new team as well, so we can expect to see some interesting things from both of them. Olixil, do you want to take us through Division 2's Division Blitz, if you don't mind?
Definitely.
All right, let's do it. Boom.
All right, we have our Division 2 Division Blitz. We have Scat Black Team going 4-0 against EA UCD Blue, which is not surprising. It's Scat Black it's the most promising team to win D2. We have UCSD Esports Navy going 4-1 against UNCG Shark Attack. Shark Attack was always going to have that little bit of a hard time fighting against Esports Navy. We have UW Husky Splatsville Knights Violet going 4-1 against MSU 4 Acrylion. The Huskies are back, and they are out for blood.
All right.
Now, Oma, would you like to cover the key match? Key match is going to be covering with Splatlanders. Gas up my opponent. Come on.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, Olixil's actually going to be playing against Splatlanders in this upcoming week. So we're about to talk about Splatlanders' first week set. So Splatlanders from NJIT won in a 4-1 set against Purdue's We Aquatic Little Creatures, otherwise known as WALC. The Splatlanders have been continuing to make waves and prove they belong in Division 2. They've been having very dominant victories overall, and especially in this last week's set over Purdue in week 1. It seems like Purdue's leading team is still finding their feet with their new roster they acquired for this season, as they've shifted off a couple members and brought on new ones. And things are looking very promising for Splatlanders to start off the season. We may see things start to shift around a little bit, but who knows as the season progresses. And that's Division 2 for you all. And last but not least, we are going to do our Week 1 recap for Division 1. I will go ahead and take the honor of covering this for our Division Blitz. And boom. All right, timer started. To start off, MTSU's Skyfall won in a 4-0 set against UTD Comet Blasters, shocking many people across the collegiate community and proving that Skyfall can hang on in Division 1. UCF was also able to win in a 4-0 set against Night Sharks. UCF Night Sharks was able to win in a 4-0 set against CSULB Gold. And finally, UCSD Esports Gold won in a 4-0 set against UTA Nightfall. So 3 4-0 sets here. All some surprising, some not quite as much. UCSD Esports Gold has been a very strong team overall in the higher divisions of the CCA, and Nightfall is here after a very strong season too. So yeah, did that with 4 seconds. Oof. Olixil, can you lead us off with our key matches for the week?
Yeah, for Division 1, we're actually going to be covering 2 key matches. The first one is going to be GMU Patriots going 4-3 against Carnegie Fries from SDSU. GMU is really starting to prove themselves of how they should be in Div 1, and they really did it, beating up a well-known, popular team of Carnegie Fries. These 2 teams have been well established in Season 2, known as Sleepy Sirens and Carnegie Fries. And this was also a first time that both GMU and SDSU were in Division 1. For other seasons, they were just barely making it, they were barely in Division 2 or Division 3 and so on and so forth. But this is the first time they can really show their colors.
Yeah. Thank you for shouting out that match, Olixil. And I'm going to go ahead and cover our second match of Division 1 that we wanted to point out. And we're going to be doing things a little bit differently this time, too, compared to how we've been doing in the past on the CCA podcast. In particular, we might just be bringing up a clip in a few seconds. So we wanted to shout out OU Academy A's 4-1 win over EA UCD Banana Split. For those of you who may remember, the Season 3 champions of Division 1 were Banana Split. This is easily the biggest upset of the week, and OUA really should be patting themselves on the back right now. Banana Split got 4th in Division 1 last season, so they're still an overall very strong team to contend with. The CCA has continued to just see stronger and stronger teams enter, and some teams even picking up strong players themselves. For reference, OUA didn't even make Division 2 playoffs last season, so the fact that they were able to come in this strong in Division 1 really says a lot. It was a crazy upset and a crazy match overall. And we wanted to really highlight a lot of just how crazy this was through a quick clip that I'm going to go ahead and make live in just a moment. So as you can see, this is the last 27 seconds or so of the match. OU Academy having a really strong final push against Banana Split as they were really in a good spot to potentially take the lead in that match. It was insanely close overall and quite the sight to see. Oops. Apologies if the clip volume was a little bit too loud. But yeah, that was a pretty exciting match overall to see. Unfortunately, it didn't get streamed, but we were able to get a clip from OUA themselves, so big shout out to them. And we also have a quick comment from them too. So OUA's captain had to say this: to prepare for the match, we had to optimize our comp to the extreme. Everything from what counters our weapons to each gear sub we wore. We had a document written up about Banana Split on every possible comp they might play, and they still managed to surprise us by running double Splatling with edit plus not as a combination. regardless, there were still times they had us on our back feet, but I'm glad we pulled through in the end and hope to see both of us in the playoffs. Also, shout out to EAUCD Banana Split, EAUCD Blue, and Glitchless. So yeah, big shout out to all of those gamers and also to OUA themselves. This was a very exciting set to watch. And we also wanted to show off one more thing. We're not done showing off little silly graphics and videos and whatnot. We wanted to cover the Division 1 power rankings for week 1. This is our wildcard check-in, so expect maybe some other divisions to maybe be covered as the season progresses. Don't quote me on that. But this is brand new to the season. The CCA staff is putting together power rankings for the top 5 Division 1 teams so far. After 1 week of matches, the ranks are thus. UCSD in first with their dominant sweep over Nightfall. Skyfall in second with their impressive sweep over Comet Blasters. Night Sharks are right between them in third. And then OU Academy A takes Banana Split's old spot in fourth. And PSU Blue drops down 3 places with a rougher match against IVC. And then GMU and Carne just outside of the top 5 at this moment in time. So they could potentially move up as the season progresses. And we also wanted to call out that Red Embers and VCU are missing due to them having week 1 match reschedules. So they could potentially move up as the season progresses. Only time will tell. So with all that said and done, Olixil, I think it's about time we bring on the DePaul gamers, Ink Stew themselves. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think it's definitely time. We just finished our, our recap. So why not go introduce with something new and start with a big bang with the good old memes themselves, DeBalls. DPU. A little bit about DPU Ink Stew. They originally were started as Scarlet, DPU Scarlet, and Scarlet Scrimblers from in season 2 and season 3, and they've been in CCA for quite some time. DPU Scarlet was one of my opponents in season 2 Division 4. I was supposed to fight against them in semifinals. Um, and then as they've kind of just learned and grown and got their esports league, probably gone. They did eventually show it up with 5 teams. But with that, let's go. Let's go and actually interview Inkstew to figure out exactly what happened to DePaul to get them where they are now.
Yeah, so welcome Ink Stew onto the podcast. You have permission to unmute if you happen to be muted. We're really happy to have you here. I think DePaul is long overdue to be a podcast guest. I hope you'd agree.
Yeah. I'm very glad to be here. Yes.
Do the thing. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, I need you all to know that I'm Ink.
And I'm Stu.
And we're the Ink Stew
We're the Ink Stew brothers. Yup.
And we love that you all invited us here so that we could do that.
Yeah, no, we're happy to have you. Do either of you happen to have any fun facts about yourselves by chance? Me and Olixil carried it away earlier, but oh no,
boy,
I wanted to throw it your way.
fact.
Oh, that was your fun fact? Oh, fair.
That was my fun fact.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Grodd, you got anything else?
I got the sick water bottle. It says DePaul on it. It's kind of
way.
Nice.
You got the DePaul water bottle?
I'm saying if you go to transfer to DePaul, you will get all the DeBalls merch you will ever want, dude.
They give you so much free stuff.
Fun fact, little known fun fact about me. I actually almost went to DePaul. It was my second choice, right under Purdue.
No way.
So in an alternative reality, I would have been there with you guys, and maybe we would have swapped places. Maybe Grodd would have been in my spot. You never know, I guess.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
But anyways, Olixil, do you mind potentially Or no, sorry, Elixir. I was trying to throw you under the bus. we have quite the long history of me doing that to Elixir on our old team that we played on together. That all aside, all goofs aside, we wanted to start off with a important question for you all. So you could argue that Ink Stew is a quintessential Division 3 team right now, at this point at least, having been a key player in the Division 3 toughest group last season, and now you're at the top of that same group here in Division 5 as things have been shaken up. Do you have any thoughts on the changes in the general teams that make up Division 3 between Season 4 and Season 5? And who are you excited to see move up into Division 3 of this season? And then either of you can answer it, or if one of you wants to really lead in with it, feel free to answer however you like.
Do you want to go first, Finn?
Sure.
I'm sorry, wyrmush.
That's okay. Don't. I've been doxxed. My real government name.
No.
I can't believe this. Yeah. It's interesting that you said that we're like I guess a quintessential Div 3 team, because I don't know. I think I underestimate sometimes the amount of power that like specifically the DeBalls meme has for us. But also just like some of the I guess progress that we've made coming from DPU Scarlet and the Scarlet Scrimblers, I think definitely has kind of carried over a little bit. When I was looking, sort of thinking about the interview, I didn't realize that, or at least you all seem to consider the group that we were in like the toughest group of Div 3 last season, but I definitely felt it. Like they were all really good teams. It was a great set of matches. I was glad that we could hold our own, honestly, kind of stay afloat. But yeah, I think in terms of like specific teams that I'm personally excited to see sort of staying in Div 3 or moving up, I always recognize Griffink. I'm, not in our group, but always happy to see them. And very excited about our buds, the Goomies.
The Goomies.
I love the Goomies. I would love to, like, in an ideal world, we both make playoffs and we get to have this awesome, like, epic showdown. But, if not, we can settle for a scrim or something. But those are I think my big two right now. Oh, and the stew off, of course. Our stew brothers. The stew off is very exciting.
Mm-hmm. Can't go wrong with that. Purdue Stew. I really hope we see that match happen. I think we will inevitably at least see a groups match happen, but seeing that in playoffs would be fun too.
Yeah, I believe it's our week 5 match is with Stew, so it's our grand finale of groups.
Looking forward to it.
Of course.
Yeah, Grodd, any comments yourself?
I didn't play in Season 4, so I don't feel as up to date with some of these things. But yeah, I definitely do recognize Griffink. Space Heels is a crazy player. The Goomies. It's cool to see. I'm doing this all from memory, guys.
That's okay.
What is the team called? Enter Salmon. It's cool to see them move up. I'm pretty sure they were Div 4 last season.
Mm-hmm.
Up to Div 3. Yeah. So many familiar faces.
Yeah, I can't go wrong with any of that. Yeah, so kind of with that little bit of a CCA intro in mind, we wanted to go a bit deeper into DePaul's own program. So, Elixir, do you want to potentially take us away with that, if you don't mind?
Yeah, definitely. So as we mentioned earlier, DePaul, did show up last season with 5 teams, and you guys are still quoting quite strong with 5 teams. How are you managing these different teams, and how do you exactly do the player recruitment?
I'll let you take the lead on that, Mikhail.
I mean, you asked how we manage the teams. I feel like maybe okay. I feel like the first thing that came to mind was we aren't it feels bad sometimes because I think it is hard to give guidance, especially because the Splatoon community is grassroots and there's not so much support from Nintendo. There aren't like predefined paths, so it's like I don't know. Sometimes I think this happened a lot earlier. When the teams are newer, people would be like talking and like they wouldn't know something. And I'm like, man, like how do we never tell them this? Like how do we never tell them, like about like these tournaments or like what this means or like how to find like games or and it's like we took on a lot when we did 5 teams. The recruitment. Do you want me to go on about that? And
Yeah,
I don't want to like.
I mean,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you're
yeah,
comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it was like the most tiring experience in my life.
Oh, no.
We had so
No, I
many
feel
people.
that.
Yeah,
There was a lot. There was a lot of tryouts.
yeah. And Splatoon is not meant for that. Like they don't have tools. Like you can only fit 2 specs. We had like maybe 6, 7 people watching tryouts. Like shout outs to Leo and to Soap. And I think Userless was there for some time and like
Mhm.
people from the Whip Rays maybe. It's like it was all a blur.
Wow.
But yeah.
Yeah, so the Splatoon sort of branch of DePaul Esports is pretty new.
Yeah.
Season 2 was the first time that we played, so we've only been around for like a little over a year at this point. So we like I was not a part of the decision making process season 2. I was brand new, but it's like I think over time, as we've all kind of gotten more acquainted with the program and like trying to figure out what we want to do, it's gotten easier to figure out, but it's still sometimes, I don't know. Sometimes I'm asked to give input to things and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know why you're asking me, but I feel like we're learning. We've learned a lot. And yeah, I think recruitment can be sort of stressful, but like ultimately it's always worth it to sort of, see everyone sort of get to know each other and get excited about playing together.
Yeah,
So cool.
I totally feel that with the kind of stress that comes with recruiting. Purdue, we typically do a like big tryout session around September or October, and like leading that is definitely fun, but it could definitely be a little like taxing at times too. I guess to be totally transparent about it, you get to meet a lot
Sure.
of cool people. I'm sure you guys met a lot of amazing people through your own process, right? But totally fair. It's definitely not easy at all. So, shout outs to, all of your like heads and whatnot for being able to manage to keep that together and ultimately, make 5 teams out of that, at least for last season. Like that was definitely very exciting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So,
And it is also a rewarding process. So I didn't mean to like trash on it.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like I didn't hate it. It was really
it's
I
totally
loved it.
rewarding.
So
Yeah, you get to help build the community up. You guys have all been growing very quickly, so that alone is like something to be proud of.
Yeah, for sure. Also, a huge shout out to our club president, Destiny, who is on Anarchy Rainbow,
Yippee.
and one of our lovely founders, Murfairy, aka Mags, who is on the C-frames. So they're both also very important to that process.
Yeah, shout outs to them. Thank you for doing that. So we also wanted to ask, how do you all, like all of the DePaul Splatoon gamers, interact and engage with each other? And that could just be in any way. Like, how do you typically hang out? How do you like potentially scrim against each other? Just anything.
For sure. I think something we were talking about, like we didn't really know how to talk about our specific like community, because it's kind of it's a weird spot where like it's very casual but also has this like really tight-knit competitive community too.
Yeah.
I think a huge part of the way that like we've grown as a community and sort of like with like the way that we make sure that we're spending time together and like we'll meet up in person a lot is because of that casual side of things. So we do a lot of like in-person meetups. Folks will like go out and just like get lunch together or study together, but also doing things with DePaul Esports. Like we'll host a game night, pickups, stuff like that. In terms of sort of just within our teams, I know our JV teams Scrim semi-frequently, I think. It's not uncommon to see people like really chipping in and giving each other advice too, in between teams, and people like asking and receiving advice. One of our mods set up a community forum for people for just like general competitive resources. So it's something that we try to like foster for sure. Like we really want people to have the information to do whatever they want to do with competitive Splatoon, and we try to. There's honking outside. Sorry, we try to
all good.
Try to make that happen.
Yeah.
People are angry tonight.
Oh, sorry. What were you gonna say?
I just said that people are angry tonight.
Oh yeah. Gotta love Chicago traffic. Am I right? Like you guys are
awesome.
pretty. I mean, just the campus alone is pretty close to some busy roads, is it not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially downtown in the Loop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember touring around there, so I can imagine it right now. I guess we're getting back on topic though. On the topic of like the resources you all try to provide to each other and ensure they're there for people trying to break into the scene. Do you have any coaches or mentors, or do you help mentor each other at all? And how does that kind of look like?
We were, that was something we were figuring out.
Got it.
For a while. I think we made progress. Like I think almost all of our teams have coaches now. Finn.
Yes.
I know you remember, or at least you have a list of.
I do. I think.
I don't know.
Most notably, we have Leo, who we mentioned earlier, also known as Fish of the Whip Rays. He helps a lot with sort of community, like a little bit with community management, but he's also like in the past done a really great job with giving people advice and feedback. I think I believe it's Anarchy Rainbow that's being coached by J Money from PSU right now.
Oh wow.
I think that's true. I'm like 99% sure that's true. And then we were given permission, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We recently started doing coaching with Jim of Squid School.
Oh no way!
It has been amazing. Like already we've gotten a lot of really good advice that's helped with our gameplay pretty significantly. So he's been awesome.
Great.
Yeah,
wow.
I think I've definitely seen Grodd, and I think you saw some of his like videos. Which is always always interesting to see.
Yeah, I showed up in a Squid School video feeding to bombs, which was really awesome for me. But that's okay. I know.
You get the knowledge, but you also become the content.
It's true. It's true. Double-edged sword.
Oof.
Getting farmed.
Yeah. But yeah, kind of wanted to continue to chug along and move forward a little bit. So a university's reputation is a unique thing, right? And here within the CCA, schools have made a name for themselves for a variety of different reasons. Some schools have built a reputation for having strong competitive teams at all levels, while others have had the best players within the league. And there's DePaul, with the most classiest of memes, DeBalls. Speaking as DePaul players, how do you feel about this CCA meme? Do you find it frustrating that the rest of the community so heavily ties your team's name and players to this meme? Or do you have any other thoughts?
Grodd, do you wanna say your piece?
Sure. Yeah. No. No. I wouldn't say frustrating. Like, it's kind of cool to be. Acknowledged in general. Like I don't ever feel like degraded by it. Like I'm like, oh, like DePaul. Yeah. What else did I want to say? Sometimes I feel bad, because during like the reveal stream, I don't know, people just always spam it, and I'm like, I feel so bad for the people like running the stream and like speaking, and it's like, I'm so sorry, guys.
Yeah, like other teams and stuff too.
We love it. We love seeing it in chat. We love sometimes seeing it in chat.
Good.
I can't tell if Olixil is just cheering you guys up right now, or if he's trying to be the devil on your shoulder, being like, continue. Keep doing it.
Feed the DeBalls machine.
Oma, why are you against it? You're wearing literally the shirt.
feel like it.
He has a point.
True.
I'm wearing the shirt right now. Like,
This guy made the
That is
shirt
very
now.
true. That's true.
Yeah,
It's like
that's
your
true.
shirt.
It is literally my shirt. I am the DeBalls guy somehow.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Somehow
Dang,
that's
well,
happened.
Somehow that happened. My bad. Um, yeah. I mean, I guess I'm glad to hear though that you guys take it pretty well. Just want to make sure we have an inclusive community and like hopefully everyone's having fun. But yeah, hopefully we get more fun memes. Maybe more DePaul memes. Maybe we'll see DeBalls too. You never know.
DeBalls
I was
2.
actually gonna say, like, it's getting a little stale. We need to mix it up, guys. Can you maybe like make it like Smalls? I don't know.
The
I don't know.
Smalls?
Interesting. Interesting take.
Don't.
I think that's gonna be I think that'll happen when like you guys have like a like you shrink your numbers, or you just have more people just in the lower divisions.
There we go. Yeah, we return with 3 teams next time. We're like, oh, DePaul fell off. The DeSmalls.
Smalls.
Boo.
All right. Well, glad to hear about the balls.
Yeah.
Olixil, can you go ahead and talk a little bit about Ink Stew?
Yeah, we've been focusing a little bit on the program, but yeah, it's always good to know a little bit about the DePaul in general. So like exactly, we know you guys have a little bit of history with the CCA. I mean, you guys started as DPU Scarlet and went to Scarlet Scrimmers. How exactly has that exactly changed the way this A team has formed, and how do you think you guys have really grown?
Yeah, I feel like, honestly, even though there's a lot of player overlap between DPU Scarlet and Ink Stew, where we are now, I feel like they're very different teams. Mostly just because we're very different players at this point. Obviously, it's been over a year. When we formed DPU Scarlet, none of us had played competitive before. We didn't know what we were doing. Grodd and I joined on a whim because another friend of ours was like, "Hey, did you know that DePaul has a Splatoon club that just started?" And we decided to try out, and then made JV, and somehow made it to third in our div, which was awesome and very cool, but also a little scary. But yeah, I think where we are right now with Ink Stew, obviously there's me, there's Grodd, and then there's a Bonked Up, who was also on DPU Scarlet and Scarlet Scramblers. One of our other members has graduated, but is still our absolute rock, our beloved Booparoos. And one of our other team members still plays. They are on Anarchy Rainbow, also our beloved. We love Anarchy Rainbow. But we're all still here, but we are also, I think, all pretty evolved at this point. I don't know, Grodd, if you want to speak on any of that.
Yeah. It's crazy to think how far we've come. Yeah, and I feel like we're all different players. I will say, I think we're still working on. I think we're making a lot of progress, like with our 6-player roster with Ink Stew this season. Like finding like the right dynamics, or like because like how do we all play together? Because there's so many different ways. There's 6 players, so many combinations, and so that's still something that we're discovering. But I think we're making good progress on it. Because before it was easier when we had like 5 players.
Mm-hmm. That's definitely been a challenge, but we love everyone that we have.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. Yeah.
I know.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
Mikhail's a hater.
I don't. No. I'm sorry, guys. I'm crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, that's good to hear that you guys have definitely like changed and you feel like you've really improved as you progress through the CCA seasons.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I'm kind of curious on like how your match was with the University of Houston's Bad to the Barnacle. Were you expecting like a hard fight, and do you think you guys were prepared, or you guys just like kind of went in and just winged it? And like could you talk a little bit more about that?
I It was hard. We looked for. They didn't have any like stats on them. I think maybe one of their players did, so we didn't really know what much to expect. I will say after the fact, like it definitely didn't feel like we were playing against like the last seed in the group, like sixth seed. Like I don't know, like obviously we're gonna be number one in our group, but they could be number two maybe. So
Of course.
um
Naturally.
yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit about our preparation?
Yeah, for sure. This was one of the first big things that we did with a Jim from Squid School. He was sort of helping us iron out a new comp that we've been cooking up. We also, I think this is something that we wanted to do more of this season in general. That he was encouraging us to work a little bit more on game planning beforehand, because we historically have been a very like, we're just going to wing it and work on vibes kind of team. But we wanted to lock in a little bit. So we did a little bit of, I think, improvising, but for the most part, we were pretty consistent. We're like, we're going to go in with this one comp. We're going to switch things if we absolutely have to. We have like more of a set team dynamic, just the 4 players. And it worked really well for us. It was refreshing to sort of have that consistency. Even though there is something really fun and silly about the sort of more on-the-fly playstyle.
That's good. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
You definitely sounds like you guys were prepared, and it definitely showed with your results against Badge of the Barnacle. Now, as you know, as DePaul Ink Stew heads into like the further weeks, what are you exactly looking for? Like any particular matchups you guys are like, I'm gonna go and like beat them.
I mean, we got to beat Stew, right?
I mean, yeah.
We have to. We can't be the inferior Stew.
Oh, we'd have to change our name, man.
We would have, yeah.
And I'd like that actually.
It would be over.
We do have a Stew versus Stew match. That's inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
Oof. I don't know. You gotta watch out for them though. They've been really cooking recently.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll be keeping an eye on them. I can't wait to see that match though. That's gonna be. I'm
very
funny.
excited.
I really hope we can stream it somewhere. Just somewhere. I want to watch it.
So there.
But yeah, looking forward to future weeks still, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
We're only in week 2 right now, but we gotta ask. Looking at both the teams within Group 1 and the teams in other groups, what matchups are you looking forward to or hoping for the most? Any in particular outside of what's been mentioned so far?
Me personally, Griffin, we definitely played them. Is it maybe like twice in the like early league season? Yeah, and they've been tough matches. I don't think we've won one yet, so I'd love to give it another go. I think I feel good about the season. I mean, I don't know. I feel good no matter what. I'm not, guys. I'm digging myself into a hole. Someone get me out.
I think we have a lot of really good options, just like overall in terms of a Div 3 is like seems really stacked this season. I love sort of everything that we've seen from everyone so far. So
yeah, totally. A lot of great games to be played. In my opinion, I think Division 3 might be the most interesting division this season in particular. Like we talked about it in the past podcast episode, but there are a lot of teams that are looking to cement themselves as a strong Division 3 team, or potentially like even going up to Division 2, maybe depending on how well they play, even Division 1, depending on how things shake up, right? So I think you guys have a lot to, keep working towards, and I think you are off on the right foot at the very least, because that University of Houston game was definitely something that like you should be proud of for grabbing a victory on that for us. So congrats on that again.
Thank you.
We are going to go ahead and wrap up the interview segment, if you don't mind, with that all in mind. Are there any like final things you wanted to mention as we kind of start to wrap things up? from either of you,
Ethan?
maybe?
Do you have any?
Not really.
Not really? All right.
Not
Yeah, nothing
really.
wrong with that.
Yeah.
So, is there anything you happen to want to plug, either of you? Like a Twitter, a Twitch?
Oh, sure. You can find us. We're a little inactive right now. That's on me. That's my bad. But you can find us at DSplatOfficial. I think on Twitter and Instagram right now. And if you happen to really like me in particular, you can find me at wyrmush. I think also on Twitter and technically on YouTube, but all of our videos are unlisted. Maybe one day we'll put them public, but yeah, that's what I've got.
I've got nothing.
Got nothing? All
Rod's
right.
got nothing.
Nothing wrong with that. Well, thank you both for joining us again today. This was a great conversation. I'm glad we could finally have DePaul on the podcast, especially you both. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and transition into our next segment. Hope to talk to you guys sometime again soon.
For sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you all.
Totally. All right. Well, that was DePaul, everyone. Big shout outs to them once again. And we are going to go ahead into the final main segment of the podcast, our week 2 match preview. Olixil, do you want to talk about how it's going to be looking overall so far?
Yeah. So right now, week 2, we have 8 reschedules at the time of this podcast, which means hopefully if everyone plays, we should have 61 matches being played across all the different division groups. Right now, these pairings are going to be the seed 1 versus seed 5, seed 2 versus seed 3, and seed 4 versus seed 6. And then after that, we are going to be covering each of these different divisions, going by the blitz and a key, and just making sure that we really cover the right like the matches you should probably watch out for in terms of like streams, and maybe just watch in general in terms of the brackets.
Yeah, totally. So to cover some initial matches that are going to be coming up for Division 6, I'll go ahead and get our timer up once again, I believe. Timer. Hello, timer. Reset you down back to 1 minute. And boom, let's get this going. So to start off with Division 6 of our preview blitz, UCSD's Sun God Squad, which we mentioned earlier, is going to be playing in a match against CSU's Buccaneers of the Krakens. As we've mentioned, Sun God Squad is in a really great spot so far this season, although they're going to have to really hold their own as the season continues. So exciting match to see from them. And then secondly, we wanted to highlight DPU's Hooker, Line, and Anchor. Almost said Sinker. Versus DCM's Deep Sea Terrors. So another cool match to check out there. Olixil, do you want to go ahead and take us into the key match for this week?
Yeah, the key match for Division 6 is definitely going to be the Kutztown University Spoon versus New York University Missile Crisis. Just because, well, Spoon versus Missile Crisis, these two teams are always going kind of for the funny name. So, these two teams being the same group just means that you're going to have the battle of the funny names. But in all seriousness, it's interesting to see how well Spoon holds up against Missile Crisis, as the Missile Crisis was a former division above Spoon from last season. So if Spoon comes up on top, that would definitely mean that Spoon has definitely grown a lot. Or, Missile Crisis is a bit washed. You never know.
Hopefully, we don't see them get that washed, but Olixil, can you take us through our Division 5 preview blitz?
Yeah. Division 5 preview blitz. We have VU Money Mindset versus A-State Black. This is going to be interesting, as A-State Black is trying to just make sure to keep onto their name as just a powerhouse. We have IVC Devil Rays versus Titan Alternatives Blue. Another well-known teams known to we were shouted out before. These two teams definitely could show a good showing, and then we have Missouri Science and Technology Splatoon Gold versus U of A Axion Splatters. These two schools are still getting their branding a little bit, but it's definitely thinks that these two matches are going to be quite good. They have quite a good showing from last season. And with that, if you would like to cover the key match for Division 5, Oma?
Yeah, totally. So our key match for Division 5 this week is going to be the RIT Tiger Trouts versus Drexel Gold Splatoon. These are new secondary teams from established schools from Season 2 of the CCA League, being the RIT Tiger Sharks and the DRX Wormwind teams. Both teams have shown great promise in our preseason events, and we're excited to see which each program has to bring. I'm going to go ahead and take us into our Division 4 preview. So, Division 4 preview blitz. UMD's Kraken Cove is going to be facing UTD's Arc Haley. OU Academy B is going to be playing against VCU Spirality, who recently moved up a division. And ISU Rugby Splatoon is going to be playing against UGA Red. Redbeak Splatoon looking to potentially get a win this week. And yeah, that was Division 4. Olixil, can you point out a key match for this week for us?
Yeah, our key match for Division 4 is going to be the Moravian CyberSquids versus Siberian Squids. It's the battle of squids, a territory dispute. These two teams came from Season 3, where Moravian CyberSquids specifically came from Season 3. Siberian Squids came from Division 4. However, Season 4, CyberSquids was one division lower than Siberian Squids. So this match is a good one to watch out for, because this could be a testament of kind of the fight of experience versus skill. As Moravian has more time on their side, Siberian has a little more skill. And with that, we're going to move on to Division 3 Preview Blitz.
Go for it, Olixil.
Yeah. So we have Stew versus KSU Wild Sharks. We just had one of our Stews. If you want to watch the other side of this other Stew, we have coming up. We have Vespa. We have Vespa Enter Salmon versus Purdue Bash, and we have VCU Goomies versus UNM Esports. Edging for Goomies.
Thank you for calling that out, Olixil. Yeah, we got two Purdue teams there, which is really fun. And then we have Vespa Enter Salmon, which actually just so happens to have some former Gumi friends on there. So a lot of Purdue and Gumi fun. Can't go wrong with that. Our key match for this week, though, is going to be the USF Bullshark Black Tips versus the UU Crimson Ink. This is a very interesting match, as they are both Division 5 playoff teams that have since moved up to Division 3. Crimson Ink having a perfect regular season in Season 4, having made it to the quarterfinals, and Bull Sharks finished in 4th of Division 5. They've never played against each other somehow, but these two teams are tied to their identities as previous Division 5 playoff teams. So this is actually a really interesting match to not just watch out for, but to keep tabs on and just see how these two teams continue to do as the season moves on. Them both being very strong quarterfinalists and 4th place teams is not anything to scoff at. So definitely keep an eye on them. Olixil, can you take us through our Division 2 blitz?
Yeah, so we have in Division 2, we have UCB California Rollers versus RIT Tiger Sharks. There's a good history of these two teams and programs, as both of them have, been established since Season 2 of Berkeley and Rochester Institute of Technology. And then we have Springfield, Ohio from Case Western Reserve University fighting against University of Florida Death Roll. this could be a very interesting match to see because Springfield are known as behemoths, but Death Row is on the up and up. And, if Death Row definitely takes an upset, it would definitely be, an upset over Springfield. And then we have Ansu Scarlet versus MSU Foreigner Krillian. And this is your classic Ohio State versus Michigan. These two universities always have, a little bit of bad blood, a little bit of rivalry between each other. So it's always see how well these two schools will fight against each other. And with that, we have our Division 2 key match.
Yeah.
What?
And thank you for covering that, Olixil. To go into our key match, we're highlighting Corona's very own WPI Grizzco Worker Union versus UTD's Daybreak. This is a rematch of a Season 3 Division 3 Grand Finals match, actually. And they are both two very different teams now. They've had major roster changes and have followed very different paths. So to see them both now in Division 2 is very exciting. And this will be a very exciting replay of a match of CCA history in general. So I'm hoping we can maybe see a stream of it somewhere. I really think that this is going to be one of the biggest highlights of the week. And I say that without bias, so don't worry, chat. Moving along to our final division to recap and give you a preview of this week, we are going to be covering Division 1. So for our preview blitz, we got the GMU Patriots versus the IVC Diamond Rays. Diamond Rays was able to take a game off of PSU Blue this past week, so they've been doing pretty decently for themselves. PSU Blue is one of the strongest teams the CCA has ever seen, so we could potentially see a very close and strong match from both teams. PSU Blue is also going to be playing against UH's H-Town Rebels, H-Town Rebels being a previous Division 2 team that has since moved up, and PSU Blue, as I've previously said, is one of the strongest teams we've ever seen, so look out for that. And then finally, UCD Banana Split is playing against Coastal Squid Surf. These teams have Caution players. Caution is a fun pickup team group. Kind of hard to say, to be honest, but we'll be seeing some battle of some friends here, so watch out for that as well. And I went over. Oops, that's the only time we somehow did that, which, you know what? I will take that. Olixil, can you take us through that final key match?
Yeah, the final key match has the podcast crew has kind of decided was UCF Night Sharks versus MSTU Skyfall. I'm going to say this with a lot of non-bias because I need to. So this is going to be an interesting fight to watch out for in this upcoming this week. Skyfall is going to be fighting against a prominent Division 1 team that has crushed a good amount of their competition in Season 2 and Season 3. The Night Sharks don't really show much mercy. So this definitely could be a David and Goliath kind of story if Skyfall kills the upset over Night Sharks, or if Night Sharks are just going to gobble up Skyfall. I don't quite know, but I think this is definitely going to be interesting.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Skyfall has been a really interesting team to follow. Honestly, they might be one of my favorite teams, if not my favorite team overall, just because of how much of a impact they've already made in the short amount of times the season has gone on. So I can't wait to see what just happens during that match. But yeah, that's actually going to be our rough kind of end to the main segments of the CCA podcast this week. And we're going to go ahead and cover some closing statements and announcements we wanted to make. So what comes next for the CCA? We got some week 2 streams set up tentatively. On Friday, March 22nd, there's going to be an 8 p.m. match for the Division 3 set against Golden Barracudas and UGA Black. On Saturday, March 23rd, there's going to be an 8 p.m. match for the Division 4 set against Bonefish Bay and RIT Tiger Prawn. And there's also going to be 2 more matches following that. The first being at 9 p.m., a Division 6 set against NCCS's Llamas versus the Axolotls of Athens. And finally, we're going to be capping the night off with a 10 p.m. match in Division 2 of the Husky Splatsville Knights Violet versus Shark Attack. On Sunday, we're going to have a 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. match. The first one being Division 5's U of A Axion Splatters versus MS&T Splatoon Gold. And secondly, the Division 2 match of WPI Grizzco Workers Union versus Daybreak. And finally, on Splatoon Tourney on Sunday, March 24th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, we're going to be seeing the Division 1 match of VCU Big Fat Sea Cows versus Carne Asada Fries. And apologies, I only mentioned this on the last one, but all these times are in Eastern. So, do the time conversion yourself. Sorry. But yeah, typically our time slots are always going to be between 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern. And then finally, the podcast episode 13 is tentatively scheduled for Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Look for an official announcement on next Tuesday or maybe Monday or Wednesday, depending. And yeah, I do want to have one more shout out though, before I forget. So this Saturday, all day, is going to be the Purdue LAN. Purdue, as some of you may know, I'm one of the lead head officers of the Purdue Splatoon at Purdue scene, and we're going to be putting on a big invitational this Saturday with a bunch of different collegiate teams in tow. For instance, we're going to be having many of the past Purdue teams playing, such as Stew, Walk, Bash, and also the return of Boilermaker Special, who stormed through Season 2 of the CCA League and also won Booyah Bowl too. We're also going to be having a couple teams from MSU there, primarily some pickups, although most of for Necrillion from Division 2 is going to be there. We're also going to be having Skyfall from MTSU and Ink Strikers there. And finally, assuming I'm not forgetting anyone, we're going to be having Ohio State's Scarlet team. The Ohio State, my bad. So honestly, Scarlet is going to be there. And yeah, it's going to be really exciting. We're really looking forward to it. There's, relatively speaking, it's a high skill level. There's a pretty, just a lot of strong teams to look out for there. So I'm really excited for it. We'll be tweeting out a stream and whatnot then. But yeah, look out for all these exciting matches coming this weekend from the CCA, Splatoon tourney, and, I also got to plug Purdue. So with all that said, Olixil, where can all of the good Squid Gamers find you?
Yeah, you can find me at my Twitter at Olixil68, Olixil. You can also find me as I'm the owner for UCF Splatoon Twitter. Find me on my team, Aeronautics. And also because I am the captain of Sparkling Sea, you can also find me at C_Sparkling Sea on Twitter if you ever want to see the other side of what I'm doing. How about you, Oma?
Yeah, definitely. So you can all find me at OmaZen_monkey on Twitter. And, since you went ahead and shout out Sparkling Sea, I will go ahead and shout out my current team shenanigans too. I am currently on a team called Wet Laundry with quite a few different collegiate friends from both the Goomies and IVC Diamond Rays. So big shout outs to them all. And you can find us at Wet Laundry, I believe, at Wet Laundry Splat. I think it's something like that. But yeah, big shout outs to those gamers. I love them. And yeah, that's the podcast for today. Thank you all for joining us. We can't wait to keep showing you what we're cooking up. I'm sure some of you have noticed some of the big overlay changes we had this week with the timer and also the little reel at the very bottom of most of the screens. So we hope to keep advancing the podcast as things progress. And yeah, we will see you all next week. See you all later.
DeBalls.